All right, folks, I'm going to get started here. If people join in late, that's going to be all right. We're recording this so that we can post it. So any questions you might have, we'll be able to
I'm on something.
answer now. Let me see if I can just mute everybody. There we go. So my name's Chris. You've probably gotten some emails from me. If you haven't, that would be weird. I just wanted to introduce myself real quick. I'm one of the directors of Surge. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to go over this slideshow right here that explains all of our programs that we'll be running in the fall. And then if you have any questions at the end, we'll have time for them. If I miss anything that, I probably should have went over, or you have a question about something immediately, you could type it in the chat. I got a couple coaches in here. They could definitely help answer some of the questions that I might have missed. All right, so getting started. A little background on us. We started in 2015 with 16 players. That guy on the left there is me, much darker hair. 6 years ago was a long time, 7 years ago, long time. Okay, so we ran 48 weeks worth of stuff this year. We have over 50 coaches. We had about 5,000 players run through all of our programs this year between tournaments, beach camps, indoor camps at posts, and our club teams. We started Surge with the philosophy of like, hey, we think we can do this. We think we can make this more affordable. We think we can provide kids with a place to play where they don't have to travel a million miles to get the travel volleyball experience. We also are one of the only clubs that's very understanding that kids have other stuff that they're doing, whether it be orchestra or other sports. So we try our best to accommodate those, conflicts that we all have in our lives with kids that play multiple sports, to just keep them playing volleyball and keep them in tournaments and not really be add any punishment for missing a practice or two here and there. So that's what this one is. All right. So the first thing, club season, tryouts were starting early because every club is starting early really for no other reason. Our practices and our tournaments and stuff will not be starting until November 1st, which is pretty much the end of the high school season. Practices will be in Oceanside or Post. Season will end around April 1st. Those of you who've been with us before, it depends on really where your last tournament sort of finishes. The tournaments, we really don't know when they are or what tournaments we'll be in until they all get posted on the AES scheduling program. Our newest program this year is our middle school program. This is going to be for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It's going to have 2 practices. It's going to have a ton of scrimmages. It's going to have no travel other than like a really local tournament. So you wouldn't be traveling out of Nassau County. And it will be about half the price of what travel for like U14, 15, and 16 would be. We can talk more about that if anybody has any questions. Season schedule I just went over. Yeah, we're going to start in November, April 1st. We have no practices over any school holidays or breaks, so you won't be missing any if you decide to go away for any of those breaks. Mostly Christmas is the one that we run into the most. Tournaments, we will probably be able to schedule all by December 30th. Our premier teams are much easier to schedule because the big going away tournaments are locked up. We just pay them and they know we're coming. We get accepted to them quickly. It's the local tournaments that we don't get accepted too fast that are in a little bit of flux. Also depends on coaches' availability of what they can coach for us in terms of local. So Premier is the most committed one. This is our travel club. The Premier is the one that will this year do 3 away tournaments. Most likely Boston, Hartford. The other one was Boston, Hartford, maybe DC, we'll see, or Amish country. So those are the ones we usually look to get in. We gotta see if the dates line up, and again, like go with our coaches and see what they're able to attend. Travel is like a medium commitment. You get 4 tournaments with that. Local tournaments, the furthest I think we had, well, I mean, it really varies on how the schedule works, but we try to keep that as local as possible. Some teams don't leave Nassau County. A lot of teams had to go to the Bronx last year, which was, we don't really like that place too much anymore because they didn't allow parents. So we try to stay away from that. But there's not a lot of places that have tournaments. It's really Center Moriches, us, Sport Time. So we have to go where the games are for those, but we try our best to keep them in Nassau County. Middle school program is the one I just was explaining before. That will have local scrimmages and whatnot. That will definitely not have any games outside of Nassau County. Programs we offer: Premier. This is the first one, the most commitment, the local tournament, the overnight. This is the one where we have the 3 overnight tournaments. It's a nice picture of one of our teams won the New England tournament. That was a good one. Anyway, this is the only one that has a little extra cost for parents. So other than the tuition, you would be responsible for getting your son or daughter to that tournament. We would assist you with what hotels you have to book, but it would be your responsibility to book the hotels. We cover the coaches per diem and all that stuff. That's not something that you have to cover. So just as a heads up, other programs like, well, definitely Cali, you would have to pay for the tuition, but the tuition doesn't cover everything. Those parents also have to chip in another couple of $100 a year just to afford the coaches per diem up there, the coaches hotel room, the parents that are responsible chaperones hotel room, so that there's more cost involved, but that's all taken care of in your tuition. The only thing you would have to include is your traveling there. Okay, I think that's the overnight. I should also explain one more thing about overnight. Most of these tournaments are what's called stay to play, meaning we do not have the ability to book any hotels other than the ones that they offer us. So we've had parents come up to us before and say, oh, like, oh, I'm a Marriott reward member. I prefer to stay in a Marriott. There are times we would too, but it's impossible. We have to stay where they tell us to within a couple of different hotels in order for us to play in the tournament. And, it's not something we like, but this is just the way it's done. I have 3 little kids also, and I am traveling to, where am I going? I'm going to Fitchburg, Massachusetts for a soccer tournament and have to stay in the hotel rooms that they set us up in, no choice. So it's the same idea in a lot of sports. Regular club, like I said, this would be what we started with. This is our travel club where you get 4 or 5 tournaments, 2 practices a week with our coaches, 1.5 to 2 hour practices, sometimes in Oceanside, sometimes in LIU Post, depending on the team's location. These tournaments, like I said, are all local, or as local as we could possibly get them. So they'll be throughout that 4-month season. The boys program we started just a couple of years ago. The boys program is the most difficult to book tournaments for because there's just not a lot of boys teams. So we try our best to get going with at least one at LIU Post, at least one at Sport Time. There's regionals, but a lot of times we mix in as many other tournaments as we can find. Sometimes that ends up being adult level tournaments, but the competition level is basically the same. Our boys have won quite a few of those. So this is one of our teams after a win at a VBLI tournament. Oops, I think I skipped one there. Figuring out how to go back is going to be tough. That's all right. I'll probably get it. Age definitions. So this is important. Your son or daughter is going to try out in the age in which they want to play. They cannot try out for a younger team, which I'm sure makes sense. We have no problem with them trying out for an older team. But if they want to be considered for an older team, they have to try out with that age group. Meaning you can register them with their birthday, but they have to go, if they're a 15-year-old, they have to go to the 16s if we want to put them on a 16 and under team. So that's going to be your decision. You could think, wow, I want my daughter playing on the 18s team. Like that's fine. Just have her go to that tryout. We'll evaluate her as an 18, and then we'll put her on the team that we feel is to the best of her ability. So I believe the slide before or after this was the one where it shows you all the birth dates and the age definitions in which they fit in. So when you register, please make sure you know this, because we won't be able to roster a kid for the correct team. Yep, there it is. So this is a chart, and this is posted on our website. It's posted on USAV. We'll post it where the tryouts are, so you can see where your son or daughter fits in and the age group in which they can try out. Like I said, they can try out up, they just can't try out down ages. Explaining that. Tryout info. So tryouts, I'm sure you guys have gotten emails from us about dates and where they'll be. The tryout fee is $75, includes as many tryouts as you wish to attend. Our premier teams will try out first and be selected. The travel clubs will try out after that. Middle age program does not have tryouts. The middle school, if you signed up for the tryouts, we actually posted that by accident. We'll refund you, or we'll just credit your account for registering. So there will be no tryouts for the middle school. If you don't make a premier team, we'll definitely consider you for a travel spot. So the premier is like the highest level. It's the most travel, the most commitment. But if you don't make that team or those two teams, then we'll consider you for the next level down and send you a bid. When we do tryouts, we have a lot of coaches there evaluating the girls and guys, seeing where they fit in. And then as soon as we possibly can, we start sending out bids for teams. Hold on a second. I got killed, kid. Shawnee, get out of here. All right. So when we send out bids, you got to please be patient with us. We will give you a time frame in which it is, but we have to fill teams upwards. So the bids will go out for like our 17s and 18s first, then our 16s and our 15s and so on down. So if you tried out for 13s, 14s, you'll be the last ones to get bids. It's quite a process. And really, we can be efficient at it. But the problem is parents answering emails. The quicker our emails get answered, the quicker we're able to fill up teams and then move on to the next team. So a lot of times what happens is we get delayed with people not answering the email till the very last second. So we have to wait for the end of our 24 or 48 hours, whatever we give the parents, and then we can move on to the next team or the next girl and move her up to that slot. So our problem really lies with the waiting game when it comes to bids. So the faster the emails get answered, the faster we're able to form up our teams. Good, there we go. Everyone will get a bid. We won't forget about anybody. We will. The only cuts I think we've ever made is when we just didn't have enough for like an older team. So we had to tell 3 or 4 like 18-year-olds we didn't have a team. Other than that, we do our best to get everybody on the team and keep everybody playing. But like it says at the bottom there, please be patient. We are working hard, and that time where we send out bids is one of our hardest times of the year, just trying to figure out not who to put on what team, but waiting for people to get back to us about accepting or not accepting bids. Filling teams. Membership in the club. So this is what you get. You get 2 practices a week at either LIU or Oceanside. Oceanside practices are going to vary Monday to Friday. The gym we'll most likely be using is the Merle Avenue gym. There are times where there are issues that are school issues where we will get bumped. The Pratt Center, we do not get bumped very often. Oceanside, it does happen. And there are things that no one could possibly foresee that would bump us out. So for example, last year I walked into a gym to begin to set up the nets for a practice, and there was about 2,000 flowers inside the gym on the floor. They were having a flower sale the next day. They didn't see any problem with setting up the day before. So there was no way we could have practice. No one knew to tell us. No one called us. So parents got very upset. I had to cancel practice about 45 minutes before it, but there was really nothing we could do. And that happens with renting from Oceanside. We generally try to keep the youngest teams practicing at the early time slots to the best of our ability. After that, we try our best to stagger them. Scheduling with the coaches is tough because not all of them have availability for every day of the week. So we have to schedule within their range of time to coach the team. We want to pair each team with who we feel would be the best coach for it, and then figure out how to practice that team within Monday through Friday. Premier teams will get 2 jerseys, backpack, and a shirt. 2 jerseys will be similar to what we had last year, not exactly the same. We might keep the black one the same, just as the away jersey. Liberos will get 2 jerseys, no matter travel or Premier. Some of our teams will require a Jiva membership. Some of them will not. The Premier teams are the ones that may not, just based on the fact that they'll be doing travel, like far away tournaments that don't require the Jiva membership. So that will be, we'll let you know that during the year once we begin scheduling tournaments. The last thing is, well, I don't know if this is the last thing because I probably have questions to answer because I can see there's 14 red dots in the chat. But we're going to be using the Sports Engine app this year to communicate to all teams. Our coaches are going to have it. All the parents will have it. I used it last year to send out a couple of emails to teams that I had to pump out quickly. It's great. We can mark our availabilities for practice. I can give exact addresses to tournaments, times to be there, any additional information, roster changes, all that I can do through the app as well as our coaches. So that will be our best way of communication. Also, if there's an issue at a tournament, like, oh, don't park here, they're ticketing or something like that, a parent can post that on the Sports Engine app. So it's a very helpful device for all of us to use. It makes our lives much easier. It also communicates with your calendar. So it'll post all the tournaments to your calendar, it'll post all the practices to your calendar. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't live without my iPhone calendar telling me what I have to do every day. All right, so frequently asked questions. I think I went over the bids a little bit. Jerseys are long sleeves for girls, sleeveless for boys. We will get the right fit. We're pretty good about this. We bring some old jerseys to practices, maybe within the first week, if not the first night of practice, to make sure the girls have the exact size that we need. Then we send it out. Sometimes it's a couple of numbers mistake, but we usually get it right within the first couple of weeks of practice. Tournaments are decided by the club directors and coaches. Like I said, we got to communicate with our coaches to make sure they can go to practices and tournaments. Very important that they're there. And then the last thing, you try out any age group you want that is equal or older. Can't try out younger, of course. That'd be cheating. All right. So if there's any questions that I don't go over, you can email us. You guys know the email. We're usually pretty good at answering it. But if there's any questions you guys have right now, don't know if there's a super organized way to do this, but maybe if you want to unmute and go ahead, and I can do my best to answer right now for you. I think, well, actually, maybe I should check the chat. It looks like we've been answering them in the chat. So if there's anything that's not been answered in the chat, you definitely answer. Ask now, please. Go ahead.
Hey, Chris, I have a question.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Will the makeup tryouts be in September or at the end of the summer? Because we're going away. Like my daughter's not available like all of August, and I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah,
Because
no,
this is like all she does.
I got you. And we've been talking about that a lot, especially since this year is the first time we've ever had tryouts so early. But this is just what every other club is doing, so we're just following suit. If it was our choice, we would have them after the season, but we can't do that because we have to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
So our plan is to have tryouts spread out a couple of like weekends in September.
Okay, so if she can't make it in August, she'll definitely be able to try out in September, and she'll definitely get a bid at least on the travel team.
Yes. Well, whatever she wants to try out for, we'll consider her for. So let's just say, like, I'm making this up right now. She wants to try out for 16 Premier.
Right.
That's what we would try her out for. And we'd have the coach of the 16 Premier there, me, whoever else, just evaluating her, being like, okay, does she fit 16 Premier? Can we give her a bid to that team? Or do we have to move her down and give her a bid to 16-2 Premier or 16 1 travel or 16-2 travel, whatever it might be.
Okay, well, my concern is, let's say there's a tryout the first weekend in September. By then, a bunch of the bids are already going to be taken by the August kids, right?
No, we have a plan for that.
Okay, so it won't affect her placement.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, we thought ahead to exactly that. We do have a plan for that.
Okay, and do you know when you're going to be able to notify people of the new tryout dates?
As soon as we hear back, we want to run those in Oceanside. So as soon as we hear back from their gym availabilities.
Okay, I appreciate all your answers. Thank you.
Excuse me for interrupting, but is the plan then that if the kid's trying out next week, let's say, or this week, whenever the tryouts start, I have to look at the calendar again, but are they not going to get a bid?
No, they will.
Until after those makeup tryouts?
So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the top teams a little bit more open than we have before, meaning like we'll give out the bids to kids that we think are definitely like, all right, this is top team. And we're going to keep it a little open. And then we're going to try to fill in from there.
Okay.
I realize there are some holes in that logic, but I don't see any other way. And I know that there's kids at camp that want to play, and I don't want to exclude them. And I think, as the parent of a kid who plays this, it's not volleyball, but plays travel sports, I think we're all happy when we get the call of like, hey, I know we said we were considering your kid for 15-2, but now we want to move them up to 15-1. Do they want to move up? Most parents are very excited to get that call. So I think leaving our upper ability teams, the highest ability teams, with just a little wiggle room on it will help us. And plus, we'll also have a lot of emails from parents, so we'll know what those kids are trying out for, not to eliminate those spots. That's the best solution that we could possibly think of.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question.
I'm listening.
Okay, so the tryouts are this week, right? Whatever, Friday, and then I think Monday. Okay. She's gonna try out for I think 16 Premier, my daughter. So after, I know the couple other clubs is towards the end of August. When does your bids go out after the tryouts for Friday and Monday?
The older teams will try to get out. Well, it depends on when the second tryout is. If both tryouts are within this week, because I just don't.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm sorry. I think it's Friday and Monday for my daughter.
Friday,
She's gonna
Monday.
go 6. Right. Right.
Yeah, so we'll try to get them out. We'll try to get them out within a week of the last one. Like probably even less than that. But we'll.
And you have 24 hours. How long do you have to?
I want to say we had 24 hours, but we usually mention that at both of the tryouts, like when the cutoff date will be. And there's so many age groups and boys now too. I just don't know that off the top of my head, but we'll tell the girls at tryouts like, hey, we'll be sending the email on this date. You'll have this amount of time to answer back, whether it's 24 or 48.
Okay, because I know that the other teams are like towards the end of August, and it's kind of like a shuffle thing. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious how you guys went with that. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just when we get the time, like the gym time.
You got it. Thank you.
No problem.
So I actually have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for 17 ones, if she's going to be, she'll be going into 12th grade, when would her tryouts be?
I thought I saw just somebody answer that.
I didn't see it. It went up really quick in the chat.
So 17. For Premier, it starts Thursday. For
Thursday,
travel, it's in a week.
For Premier, it's Thursday travel. Okay, and you definitely will send out the emails like you said.
Yeah, I think we've sent out a bunch, but we can send out another one. And I think it says on the website exactly when all the tryout dates and times and places are.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Quick question. Do you have more than one premier team at each age group? I thought I just heard you say that.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Generally speaking, like 15s and 16s are where the most girls are. And if there's more than, like let's say there's 25 kids who want to play Premier, then we will make a 1s and 2s team ability based.
Okay.
For Premier and travel, and we will send them most likely to the same tournaments as long as we're able to get in those tournaments in terms of numbers.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Hi, Chris. I have one question.
Go for it.
Okay, so it's a little to do with this, a little to not. So my daughter is, coming for the Premier tryout, but she's also doing your 8 to 10 clinic.
Oh, the camp, yeah.
So it seems like the camp and the tryout is the same time for the entire week. So if she didn't make Premier and she had to go to the other tryouts, it seems that it's the same exact. Am I wrong?
No, you'd be all right with that. We'll try her out for Premier. If she doesn't make Premier, she'll be able to be considered for the travel teams as
No,
well.
but what I'm saying, she's also supposed to be in the clinic at the same time for the camp at night. It's like an 8 to 10 at. So is she doing the camp? Like I'm just confused.
Gotcha. No, she'll be doing the tryout, but let me just write that down and I'll send you an email about that exactly.
Yeah, because she's double booked for both. So if it's just Premier, it would only interfere one night, but if she has to be for the other tryout, it interferes 3 out of the 4 nights of the camp.
Yeah, no problem. We'll figure that out for you. I'll send you an email on that.
Okay, that was just my question.
Yep. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Lane, I think you're asking a question, but you're definitely muted.
Hello. Same for my daughter with the camp and the tryout.
Okay, yeah,
So-
we'll send you some info on that and what to do. We'll take care of that for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, sorry. I want to clarify one more time.
No problem.
If you try out for Premier and you don't make it, do you have to come to the regular travel tryout, or will
No.
you'll just be considered?
That's correct. Like we're
Okay.
going to be able to see your ability and know where you fit in with the other kids around the same age. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, I mean that, and the scheduling in that might be very difficult for you to get your daughter to like 4 different tryouts. I think that's
Right.
crazy. We're going to know, where she's going to fit pretty quickly.
Do you
So-
look at all where they previously were, or do you just start from scratch every year at the tryout?
So that question's a tough one. There's been girls in our program that I've known like for 6 years. So like there's sometimes like I've seen a girl play 100 times, so I know exactly how she plays. It's almost
Right.
like I don't have to even watch her at a tryout except to see how much better she's gotten.
Right.
There are some kids that are brand new. So I try to come in with like my mind blank when I'm assessing at a tryout. We always have new coaches, so they'll come in with definitely no idea who anybody is. And we do have a system where they're grading everything and looking at as much as we can. And then we take like totals and we, really try to quantify their playing.
Right.
So there is that like, okay, I know this girl. Yeah, I know. I remember her. Yeah, that goes on with me. But for a lot of the coaches there, they're fresh and they haven't seen these players before. So they have a fresh mind. So I'd like to say we have like the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Like sometimes it's better to like know exactly how a girl plays. Maybe she had a bad 5 minutes while somebody else was watching her. But
Mm-hmm.
if we have a lot of people doing it, I feel like we're going to get the right answer.
Right. Okay. Thank
And
you.
I have to be honest with that. And I know that's a lot of, that's what goes through a lot of our minds is like, oh, what if my daughter misses her serve? Like there has been very few times in 7 years of doing this where a girl is misplaced.
Mhm.
I say that as the director of the club, not as a parent of a kid in the club. Every parent thinks that their kid is, you know, either the greatest ever or the worst ever and had a terrible this and did great at that and did. So we always think the best and the worst and we get emotional with it. And I'll get emails saying like, well, I'm not really sure my daughter belongs at this level. I think she belongs at this level. And I say, all right, I'll check with you. And then I go over to the coach and I ask the coach, I'd be like, hey, did we mess up here? Does this girl or guy, do they belong at this or what? And they'll tell me like, she's fifth or sixth best on my team. I wouldn't move her up.
Mhm. Right.
She's eighth best. I wouldn't move her down. I think she's right where she belongs. Like that's the answer I'll get from a coach after a couple of weeks of practice.
Right.
So we do get those, you know, emails, but usually I'm sorry, I see no reason to move up or down.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
99% of the time.
I had a stupid question. I just came on. I apologize.
No problem, Lisa. No stupid questions.
Sorry, I was on a work call. My daughter's new to this whole Long Island Surge, and she loved the whole experience and what have you. Now, as far as tryouts coming up, I know she's doing the camp.
Yeah.
Start Monday until the 11th from 6 to 8. So how does that work? And this is tryouts for a fall season or what's?
Yes, it is. This is tryouts for the teams in November is when we'll begin practice. If she has a conflict with her tryouts, you can send us an email. We'll take care of that for you and give you some information on what to do with the conflict between the camp and the tryouts.
Okay, and that information about when the tryouts is on the website?
Yes. And I went over a lot of this in the video, and I know you missed the beginning. Like I'll give you a little quick synopsis, but if there's any like specific detail, you could probably, we're going to post this video on the website so that you can watch anything you might have missed. But basically she'll try out in her age group, or if you want, she could try out in an older age group. I don't know, maybe she has an older friend or wants to play in an upper age group, that's fine. But just try out within your age group or the age group you want to play in and go from there.
Okay, and you said it, so the season, the teams are in November, that's when they start playing in November or?
Correct. You'll get a bid for which team that you made
Okay.
quicker than that, but the teams will start practice in November. We try to do it after the high school volleyball season.
Oh, that was my question, because I know she's getting ready. All right, I
Yeah,
thought that,
the high school volleyball season, I think it's like the championship would usually be right around the beginning of November.
okay,
So most teams will be done by then. By the 1st of November, excuse me, not the middle of November. That's around the county championship is.
okay, all right, no, that was my only thing, like, is it gonna be like her high school volleyball and then mixing this in, but all right, no, that's great, okay.
There's conflicts, your kid's having a great year.
Okay, all right, no, perfect, thank you, I appreciate it, and I'll watch the record, I know it's being recorded, so thank you.
No problem. All right, guys, I hope I answered most of your questions, and I guess I will be seeing most of you at tryouts. If there's anything else, you can shoot us an email over at lisurgevolleyball@gmail.com. But I'm going to call it a night here. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.